That's right. No starting soon for me. Starting now. It's funny how different my laptop's down there. But when I look at my laptop, my head's just like down. All right. Anyway, I'm working on stuff. That's what I'm doing. That's what I always do. I'm always working. Always working. Did I make sure that I actually closed that window? Okay. I did some upgrades to my computer, so I'm hoping that I don't have as many weird issues. I should just try it and see. Oh yeah, I upgraded my I don't know what my driver maybe for my graphics card seems to work a little better. That's good. I'm happy with that. And now we work. Kind of. I realized last time that I need to make some changes to how I do some battle stuff. So I got to go revise some of my thought processes. So I'm going to talk through it, I guess. So when we last saw Armatzi, he was dealing with a issue with how the characters run onto the map. And part of the problem is that I do it using a coroutine, and I think that causes some issues with how the characters move in general. So now I need to come up with hopefully a better way to do this in theory. But that's just a theory. A Motzi theory. So I'm going to go back. I was going through and looking at this earlier. I actually thought I was going to do more coding today. However, I didn't do as much as I thought I would do. So I'm going to have to go on and relearn what it was I was trying to learn. This is our battle system. It's triggered by a node script that is ostensibly supposed to be managed by the Smile Game Builder script running. But I'm almost thinking I want to actually hand control of this over to my new node-based system, my graph running system. So I want to take a look at this and see if I arrive at that as a potential solution as how I'm going to do this. This is all the Smile Game Builder method of setting up character positions on map. Oops, what was I doing? I think I can get rid of this. Can't I? This is Battle BG Center. I think I get those from a different... Oh, maybe I actually still need that there. Okay. I think I commented it out while I was testing. Set center position, that's fine. Get monster positions, get player positions. This is how we define the layouts. The script. So maybe what I should do is I start going down this path of... Oh, now I've got to introduce a whole new mechanic to mechanically make this work. I don't know if that's what I should do. Maybe I should find a way to solve my problem without creating more problems. I'm not totally sure I can do that, but I want to take a look real quick, just to sanity check myself before I wreck myself. Because we're still working on the on-map battle system. And there's plenty to do there. Wait, what am I doing? I'm here. Okay. So this is probably still going to have a problem. And I think maybe what I should do in watching this happen is decide even fundamentally how I want to update our battle system. And interestingly, that didn't... that didn't cause the problem I thought it would. I don't want error pause. Let's try that again. Okay. So it didn't do what it was doing before, which is good, I guess. We still have this weird bug, but I'm not ready to work on that yet. I might be at a phase where I need to actually do some planning. Obviously, this, you know, we have a trailer out for the new battle system. I'm not applying the new visuals yet. So right now, I just need function. I don't care about form. And what I have been working on is getting the characters to attack. Obviously, there's still some problems. And in fact, I'm kind of okay with the fact that I'm getting more errors. I didn't say this earlier, but I did happen to also upgrade my Unity version. I figured it was time. We're going to be doing some major updates. This is probably the time to do it because we're going to get a bunch of testing done. So I'm okay with the potential of having bugs and issues. Although this is a weird one because I hadn't seen this before. So I think it's time for me to map out how our battles work. Because when I'm at a space where I need to get some functionality working consistently, there's a swirl that happens where I'm like, okay, let me see if I can fix this one little part of it. And what I really need to be doing is the sort of cohesive solutioning. Hey, Tom, how's it going? I'm surprised you didn't want to ask to join in and hang out and chat with me on my stream. You know, like we did that one time. How was your stream today? I intentionally did not come and talk on your stream. You were... Well, let's see. Was it last night you were doing retro gaming? And you have a QA headache? I have a QA headache. So you have a headache from quality assurance? Hey, Tom, if I had a nickel for every time I heard I have a headache, not tonight, oof. Tell you what. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just a classic. My wife is on the other side of the wall now, too, so I said that extra loud so she could hear me. I don't know if she heard me, though. Anyway, I hope that your streams went well, regardless. Regardless of my terrible humor. I'm getting some documentation ready. Sorry, you got a headache. Usually I just take drugs when I have headaches. Did you get your inventory system done? Tom is like, ever since I joined your stream now, anytime someone comes on, it's like, oh, we should chat sometime. I was like, that's fine. Join the stream. You made progress. That's good. Any progress. It's all that matters. Any progress is fine. You have my permission to make progress. Okay, let me see here. Battle system. Is there anything I can't show here? I don't even know if there's things I can't show. My browser is working better now. So this is just all the different things within the game. So on map battles, this is where I was doing my investigation and setup. I don't know if this is really... That's not really going to help what I'm trying to do. We had linear walking, which I actually did make work. This is the battle sequence logic and how the animation system works. Look, I even have a little diagram. action flow. After going through this exercise, there are a number of ways the flow works. That's cute. Not important. That's cute. Battle action and animation planning. Look at that. I don't even remember. Oh, this was when I was trying to plan out how battles would work. I didn't do this on stream. But this is some of my design work. My very thorough design thinking about how the flow of a battle works. This is how I came up with my sort of diagrammed system. But I kind of think I should do something like this for the actual battle start flow. Because I think one of the other things that I'm running into is there's some setup stuff that needs to work. There's some node issues I need to correct. And ultimately, there's like the overall way I want battles to work. And even though I'm sort of shoehorning what I'm doing on top of an existing system, I think there's going to be some benefit to me mapping out the way a battle should work, or the way a battle setup should happen. And so maybe I'll do that, actually. I'll do like a new battle system flow or something. Flow. Map battles from start. So I think I'm going to do it this way. I don't know how much people like to watch documentation happen, but this is a part of development process. So, YOLO. When we're developing things, people have some method, even if it's like, Tom, your method is more, at least for your current game, you design it. You have like a graphics you're working on, you're creating it, and you're thinking about how you're going to create it. You may or may not have notes on it, although I think when you stream, you don't usually have notes, you write. At least I haven't commonly seen written notes. I've seen pictures, which probably more pretty to look at. But everyone's got to have some way that they think through what they're going to do. So, this document outlines. I just make to-do lists, right? What I do is when, hold on, I'll finish writing my thought first. This document outlines, right? Yeah. This document outlines, graphs and notes, the intended new flow of bootstrapping an on-map battle using part of the existing SGB battle system along with new nodes and actions. The intent is to identify the proper solution and how we can modify the existing approach to fit the new. I've already modified heavily how the battle system works. The Small Game Builder battle system was not at all designed to run on a current map. And a lot of their stuff actually doesn't work with on-map battles, so I had to, the new enhanced battle system I had to sort of fix, with my new UI and stuff so that it works. I ran into some issue where some fundamental component of the Small Game Builder battle system would require tons of changes in order for me to make it work. And so I decided that I would fix forward. So my solution-oriented mind is like, well, I already started down the path of creating an enhanced battle system, so I'm going to make that system work because that was intended to take over what was currently there. So it actually turned out good that I did all that extra work a year plus ago on getting the base system in place. So general flow. This is the high level flow of battles from finish non-granular. So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to save my document too. Even though it's not quite that important in sort of the documentation process or Confluence to save things as you go, because it'll save a draft of it. I just, it feels good to have an actual name of a file and all that stuff. Okay, let's go make this thing here. So general flow, we're going to make a draw.io diagram. That's right, baby. We're diagrammers. Give it some name. I don't really care what it is. I think that this is actually like a theme. Yeah, so it's a theme that actually is provided by draw.io now. So I think it actually works better than things did. I have such a OCD about like, oh, I want everything to fit within these squares. And watch people like, I have developers that will make diagrams that look something like, it's like, oh, here's these arrows, and they're just like all over the place. It drives me nuts. I'm like, come on, you can just align them. Just put the alignment in the right place, please. Please just make it, it's like if you can make it lined up, please. Just basic, OCD awareness. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so this is going to be the place map battle command, which also happens to be part of a node. Maybe I should represent it just so it is clear that it happens within a script running. The problem is like the way scripts run and the way we trigger. Maybe I'm not going to worry about that yet. Okay, so we have the place map battle command. This is the thing in the code that's responsible for actually starting the map battle. And I actually set it up. Can I do this? Let's see. Maybe I can do like a half and half or something. Let's go like that, I guess. So this is the place. This is not the right thing. Where is it? Place map battle command. So this is the thing that actually makes the battle get started. And I essentially just copied out all the code from a Smile Game Builder that does a battle start, and then I did my own stuff. So when we start a battle, let's assume that anything that is like, just operational requirement doesn't need to be diagrammed. I mean, if the battle doesn't start, then we don't care. All these things these are guard clauses. By the way, this is why I hate guard clauses, because look at this, 3 returns at the start of a method. And actually in the Smile Game Builder code, this is just somewhere in the middle of their code. It is a level of obnoxiousness I can't even begin to describe. And look, here's another one. Boop. So who cares about that? I'll refactor that someday. But when we get a battle started, outside of all the setup activities, we have to do a phase of start that is more around like getting the characters to the right place. So let's define it this way. First off, when a battle is going to start, we need the setup phase. That's going to be all of the objects that need to be prepared for the battle to move forward. Well, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of developers who disagree with my assessment of guard clauses. And there's this notion that if something is sufficiently written as code, it shouldn't matter whether you use them or not. Like, when you really boil down to it, good programming practices, if you're following good programming practices, a guard clause is not going to make your code harder to read. It's not going to cause problems. Because really, it's not guard clauses themselves that make code hard to read or hard to maintain. However, my comment about guard clauses is it's not about whether they themselves cause it to be hard to read. It's people who use the code. Hey, OMG, by the way, were we supposed to have a follow-up on anything? Because I found a Discord that you sent me. And I was like, oh, I followed you on LinkedIn. And I don't remember if we were going to do any other talking about this or what happened to my brain. But, you know. Oh, you said that is what she said. I thought you said that is what is said. I don't know either, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. So if we were supposed to have a follow-up, I'm sorry about that. Because I saw it and I was like, wait a minute. Were we going to talk or anything? I didn't remember. I can't even remember, like, maybe I passed your information along, or maybe I said, reach out. Or maybe we just decided we were going to connect on the LinkedIn's. I really don't remember, and I'm sorry about that. It's clearly there was no intent of me to be ignoratory, as people say. I just literally saw it and I was like, oh wait, wasn't I? What happened there? I thought it was funny. We just became friends on first sight. I know, that was all. Hi, by the way, how are you? I think it was you, right? Yeah, I think it was you on the Discords. Okay, so battle is going to have a setup phase. So all this is going to do is exactly what it's described. It was. But to me, setup is like, it's not placement. Setup is like the non-animatory things. It's all the pieces that have to come together before the next step. So the next phase of a battle is placements, right? Or, yeah, it's like staging. Battle staging, I guess. I feel like there could be a better word for it. I don't want setup though. You know what I can do is I can ask ChatGPT. It's really good for just bouncing ideas off of things. In the phases of a turn-based battle that has on-map actors being placed. If the setup phase is for all the data needed battle, what would you call the phase where we move the actors to their spots and the camera prior to the battle starting? Okay, let's see what it says. I'm quizzing ChatGPT for words. I wouldn't say it's actually that great with words, but it's good at sort of promoting thought. Placement, deployment, orientation, scene setup, preparation, battlefield setup. Ooh, that's a good one. Except, maybe, well, we could have it like, if this is a phase, so if I was going to make it like a phase instead of making it, you know, so instead of me representing this as if I was doing commands or something, I could just make this a box that represents something. Like, you know, this is the setup domain, the domain of setup. It doesn't mean that it's actually going to turn into an object. It just means this is, you know, when we're talking about phasing of things or sequencing of events, this is more like a sequence of things, right? So you'd have like configuration, or like okay, what would you call the phase before the animations where we get all the data prepared. Preparation phase. Loading. Loading is a good one. Ready? No. Configuration? Yeah, I use configuration. Assembly? Maybe like data configuration. Battlefield setup. Did I spell battlefield? Why is that? Battle. Did I miss an L? Maybe. Okay, what else would we want? Battlefield setup. Setup phase. Okay, wait. Where's my ACD? OCD? ACDC? I remember once my mom got mad at me and she said I was lying to her when I was a kid, younger. When I was still under her domain, her roof. And she goes, I know you're lying to me. I've got ESPN. I'm just like, oh, really? You got the sports channel now. Just in your wacky brain. Got it. Just to be clear, I did not say any of that to her because then I would have gotten in more trouble. I just thought, you got ESPN. Do you know what ESPN is? It's a sports channel on television. So we have data configuration. Battle setup would be all the pieces involved in getting the characters to their spots and the camera moving to its spot. So like in our Kickstarter trailer, the very first thing it starts with is the characters run into the monsters. They all move to their spots. The camera tilts at an angle and like the UI pops into place or whatever. And I would almost say that even like the UI part could be a third piece. This isn't necessarily, I mean, I hope it's not too granular. It's more like, you know, just as an attempt to get the main pieces into place, maybe? Dang it. This is what I hate. So, okay, so I get that all aligned. And I got all this extra space. I guess these, are these? No. Yeah, it is actually the same distance. There's just no words down there. So we have data configuration, battlefield setup, and UI placement. Like, I think this might be too granular, but I'll allow it for now. So battle starts. This command does a few phases of setup, one of which starts an animation that is all the characters moving around. And that is typically going to be, or it's going to appear to be asynchronous. It won't be. One of the problems I'm having right now with the battlefield setup is it's using an actual coroutine, which is causing some problems. So after we get set up, then we go into the battle start phase, right? And I don't even really want... Well, we need like a phase of this, like deciding who goes first, I guess. But that's all part of the battle. So we'll just call it battle start. Because the next, like who goes next is defined in the actual battle logic, essentially. And then we do battle turns and battle end. And then we need like a battle cleanup, I'm guessing. So I could probably do like another box like this. This is the domain. So the major phase, the setup phase has all these things, and then we have like the main battle phase. So this is everything that, all the major things that happen in battle, which is really, you know, there's obviously more than 3, but it's sort of the highest level things. The battle start, battle turns, battle end. This is just sort of the repetitive thing. There's animations that happen, whatever, I don't care. And then we have the sort of battle cleanup or battle results, probably. That we have to process as well. So it's setup, battle, and result. And in result, we're going to either, well, I'm going to do the happy path. Like implicit, if you die in battle, something else happens. So you're not going to see any of this other stuff. Like if you die, you did, right? Or you run away, you really won't see any results, right? So running or not, I guess I could do like a little decision tree and just make it a little bit more clear. So like did win or like result question mark. And then win would go to the result thing, not win would go to something else, right? Oh, I can't. Oh no, because it's not perfect. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm going to have to split the difference. So then we'll have this one here where I could do dying or not, I suppose. Although in this game, death is never truly the end. Oop. Okay. Did you all see we have a Kickstarter? Oh, it's right. It's all over the screen. Well, we have a Kickstarter preparing. We're preparing for a Kickstarter. Kickstarter's prepping for launch. I'll be happy to share with everyone exactly how that goes because this is our first Kickstarter. That's right. That's right. It's our first Kickstarter, and we'll see. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it now, Motzi? Ah, I'm so glad you asked. Okay. Win. I could do like run away. See, the three conditions are you either win, you die, or you run away. There's really no other option, right? Sort of like life. In life, you win, you die, or you run away. I don't think that's how that works. You run away from life. I'll just say back to map, right? Oops. Okay. Perfect allegory for life. RPG battles. Result, dead. Game over. Auto reload. I mean, basically, you either auto reload a save or you go to the what we call the echo dimension, but you go to the dimension where you can reload, essentially. Okay. So then in the result, we will have, display result details, display level ups, and back to map, back to reality. Oh, there you go. Okay. So I think that's pretty much place battle. I guess I could just do it top to bottom. I don't know what it is about me, but I always like when I start something, I like to start on the left and go right. But then I start making things vertical. There's something about when I make diagrams. It's the bad habits I've developed. It's almost like the people who developed the bad habit of using guard clauses in their code, you know? All right. So place battle. Okay, so this is good. So I mean, like structuring my code for this with this idea isn't too terrible. We'll have to decide a few things. I think that this is going to be normalized enough that some of this stuff doesn't need to have nodes. Although I think the battlefield setup is going to need some kind of like node graph. I have to decide what I want to call that. So ostensibly, you know, any battle would be, or maybe I'll call it, instead of place battle, I'll call it like trigger battle, because it's really not a placement, it's a battle starting essentially. So trigger battle, we go through the setup where we configure data, we trigger the battlefield setup, and then we show the UI. And then we start the battle, do all the turns, battle ends for some reason. If it's a game over escape, it's just kind of these quick things. If it's a win, we display details of the results. If there's level ups, we display that somehow, which we will obviously revise from what we currently do, and then we go back to the map. I think that's pretty reasonable. So now that I've simplified it, new battle system flow, map battles from start. Okay. Do I even need descriptions here? I guess I could put words to the right of it. Maybe I'll do that. How do these Kickstarters work? How much commissions do these guys take? Kickstarter, I think, ends up taking about 5% of whatever you make. I'm not, they publish, it's like publicly available information, but Kickstarters, if you're using whatever platform you use, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, BackerKit, there's something else. There's always some kind of commission that somebody gets. Or some kind of like transaction fee. There's also like the card transaction fees that get charged, which I think is actually what they mean when they say there's transaction fees. And then there's taxes. So for instance, well, depending on where you live, and if you have a business, it's you kind of just assume that the tax percentage is going to be the highest you can. So if your goal is to get like, I'll use an absurd number because usually people don't do this. If your goal is to get like $100,000, if you want that actual number after all the taxes and stuff are taken out, then you actually have to make a Kickstarter goal of like 150 or something. Because if you, I don't even know how it works. I got to do some math here. Well, like, you know, 40% taxes, for instance, that's like the maximum you might get charged. So right there, if you wanted 100,000 as your goal, then you have to consider that whatever you make is going to get 40K plus taken out of it. So it can't be 100K. That'd be like 150, right? So like, you know, if I were to just say, if I were to put a goal out of 100,000, 40,000 of that is all taxes. So you're only left, at that point, you're only left with 60,000. However, then you take out the 5%. So that's 0.05, which I think that's about right? So there's another $5,000 that comes out of it. So 45,000 is taken away. You know, the taxes don't get taken away right away, but they will eventually. So you can't just like, you can't just use that, or else you're going to be in a world of hurt by the end of the year. So you basically get what, 55,000. So if you raise 100,000, you get 55 to 60,000, depending on how much taxes you estimate get taken out. It's absurd, and like that doesn't count any other costs that you incurred to do the Kickstarter. Like marketing costs, right? Because you'll want to pay for marketing costs or asset creation for it. It's pretty crazy. So you think about like, because we look at things like overly successful Kickstarters, like Sabotage Studios when they did Sea of Stars. I think they got like 1.3 million, right? So it was like 1,300,000. So out of that amount, if it will just go maximum, if they had to pay the maximum taxes, who knows, right? And this is Canadian, so I don't actually know how much they. So they almost half of that went to pay taxes. So they, you know, and then there's the Kickstarter fees and stuff like that. So like, if they got 1.3 million from the Kickstarter, they really only get half of it, and then they've got to use those funds for some of the rewards, and they've got to use it for their staff and all that stuff. But it's pretty crazy. People don't think about that when they support a Kickstarter. They think, wow, you raised $1 million. And you're like, or whatever, you know, like a lot of these RPGs nowadays, they make like 300K or so, depending. But like the actual amount of money they get that they can use to fulfill their requirements is not anywhere near what people submitted. It's just insane. It's just hard. It's hard to like, it's hard to process that, right? Because there's all these little things you just don't think about. This is the phase where everything is prepared. Battle. The configuration. Bootstrapped. All known data is ready for next steps. When process various actions like moving characters to their spots and setting may not be a necessary step to call out, but usually UI doesn't show. Okay, so I'll just put these like text next to it just so it's clear. Represents represents the battle sequence as normal, already laid out in others. I don't really know if I need this. I guess I could put a note down here just because I wanted to call out like the way we're going to change results. Oop. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it right there. Okay. Level up display will likely include new approach. UI for more details on what happens. It's interesting. I think there's other places in which the characters can be leveled up. There's times in which your character can get like, you know, some potion or something or whatever. So I gotta figure out, like, I think if we're gonna make a level up screen, it'll be something that's visible outside of battles, which is fine. It'd be interesting to figure that one out. Okay, so I think I got the pieces in place that I need. Now that I have like my brain aligned with what I'm trying to accomplish, I can try to fit that into the code that represents these pieces. So in this map battle command, this is one of the older node things I have, or it's older. I mean, it's not that old. I basically replicated what Smile Game Builder does for bootstrapping their battles. So this is a chunk of code that comes from the script running system. So what's interesting about my new graph system is that it doesn't matter how the pulse is created for the map graphs. As long as there's a pulse, I can trigger them from wherever I want. And what I mean is, I happen to know this because I've dealt with this crap for so long. But execute map battle, this whole runtime code thing, it happens in the context of the Smile Game Builder update loop. So in effect, this is an update loop of the Smile Game Builder commands. This is an injected command into the script that ends up running the battle. So it actually makes for a very interesting thing where I could make other scripts and graphs run, knowing that it'll run in the context of the Smile Game Builder update loop, which is kind of neat. I think it's kind of cool. It's not like long term, it's not a great solution because I really should have a better way for managing, the pulse of all these different graph runners. But it's okay for now. It's okay to kind of hook it in down at this level, I think. I hope. So now I want to think about what I'm going to do from a graph perspective. So in our Dratzy Games battle stuff, we have battle graph, like a battle sequence graph. We have a battle action graph, which is right here. I almost feel like I need like a graph folder now, like battle graph, because these are whatever, but it's fine. Oh man, I really kind of want to now, because I'm going to have a third graph, which I guess the question is, this is an interesting question. With this graphing system, do I make a graph per domain, or do I come up with a more generic way to denote what kind of graph I'm working with? I'm not asking anybody to answer that for me, but I am asking myself the question. So let me talk about what I mean so I can understand myself. I'll never truly understand myself, but I'll try. Oh, so this is another, waiting for Unity's code to finish executing. Okay, so earlier I said I had actually upgraded to Unity 6 because I had this great idea that if I'm going to have to do a bunch of updates with QA, I might as well get the upgrade done now. As upgrades go, it really didn't go too terribly, except for some reason I keep ending up with these stupid, waiting forever things. And I don't know why. Tell me why. I don't understand why I keep running into this issue where it's waiting for code to finish executing. There might be a bug somewhere, but I don't have the console open, so I can't see. I guess I could look at my IDE and see if there's something in here that tells me. No running processes to monitor. Screw your face. What do you mean no running processes? Is there like there's problems. Using a directive is not required. Oh, using directive. I saw it. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. It's okay. All these are dumb. Not even like legitimate issues. Is it still going? No. It's not still going, but also there's nothing. It did all that stuff, but it didn't open anything. Where's my battle graph at? Told you to open. Did I close it somehow? Maybe I accidentally closed it. Okay. So when we have like this is a graph of type battle sequence graph. And the way that the reason I have like different types of graph is because for different graphs, we want different nodes available to be used in those graphs. I'm wondering if I can. I wonder if I can just use a battle sequence graph. I think I should just use a battle sequence graph. It's going to be weird because these are all like weird sequence related things. And I just have to know not to use things I shouldn't use, I guess. But I don't really want to like go crazy. So primary battle system graph. So we're going to make a new battle sequence graph. I'm not going to make a brand new graph of any other sort. And I'll just have to know don't use certain nodes. And later I'll regret that I made this choice. And someone will tell me they told me so. And I'll be okay with it. What am I doing? Where's my Dratsy thing? I thought I had a Dratsy. Create. I thought I had a Dratsy folder material 2D. Am I blind? What's going on here? Oh, yeah, I am blind. I didn't see me. Okay. So we have Dratsy battle sequence graph. I think I can, well, I could do an action graph actually. Because an action graph for setup ostensibly would make sense, wouldn't it? Let me think here. I made action graphs. No, because action graphs have a specific type of node that they start with. So I guess I need a battle sequence graph. I guess it kind of makes sense. See this? Like, what is it? It's on validator, which is weird because Odin validator isn't in my project. I don't understand why this keeps triggering. I explicitly told Unity to remove Odin validator from my project. It's really confusing to me why it's even doing anything here. I wonder if it's like if I move away and come back, like it solves itself. No, it doesn't. It keeps going. Validator. Odin validator editor. I don't want you. How can I get rid of you? Odin inspector. Can I? Validators. Uni addressables. I don't even want my addressables addressable. These are not, this is not Odin validator though, is it? Oh, it is. This validator ensures asset. Okay, so why do we have this stuff in here? Do I even use addressables in my project? I don't even know if I use addressables. I could try removing it and see what happens. Odin inspector modules. Addressable reflection. Like what would use this? Uni addressables.data. What's in here? Just open it as text. Oh, it treats it like, oh, these like the entity crap. These are actual classes. That's weird. What's called .data? That's weird. That's weird. Why are you doing this to me? All right, I'll mess with that later. It's just annoying that it like, you know, slows everything down. So we'll make this the battlefield setup. Sure. So for battlefield setup, all I need is like generic start node. I don't like, what is it? What is the, why? Project Watcher. I need to like terminate the validation stuff. Can I just like remove it from project-wide actions? Let's see here. Odin Validator. Let's see here. Why are you here? How can I get rid of you? Can I just remove you? What if I just remove you? Can I just remove addressables? I don't use addressables. I don't think I do. I don't directly use it for anything. There might be something that I think like localization might use addressables. But I don't think I actually set it up to use addressables. Let me see if I can just remove addressables from the project. Because I learned from a little person named Wallaber that addressables are bad, never use them. That's what he told me. Okay, can I remove you? It says I can't remove you. You cannot remove this package because another installed package. Okay, what are the dependencies? JSON is used by localization. Fudge. Hey, Killboy. Hey, did you see? We finally got you. We finally got this. You've been saying we should do it. It finally exists. Localization. So, is it actually required though? It's saying it's required. I don't want Odin Validator to exist in here. So what if I just get rid of it? Let me just find all the references to Validator and see just how badly I can mess this up. Validator, see. Precompiled references. Die, Validator, die. Okay. Don't want you as an assembly. You should not exist. You're not here. Go away, Validator. Can I just get rid of you too? Where are you? Serenix, assembly, no. Go away. Validator, editor, gone. Get rid of all of you. Terminate with extreme prejudice. I don't know what you do or why you're making my life so difficult, but you're going away. Could be like completely breaking my project, I'm guessing. Yep, I have a drinking problem. I literally just missed my mouse. It's okay. We're fine. Just, you know, me making messes with water. At least it's just water, right? Let's get rid of you. I'm literally just going to go and like hand delete every validator reference. What is this? Addressable reflection validator? No, oh, I remember you guys are in here. We're going to get rid of you entirely. These are Odin modules. Boom. You're going away. Do you have any addressable stuff in here? They might... well, no, validator shouldn't matter, though. Let's see. We'll find out. Localization reflection. Where are you? What is this? Manifest? No. Nope. Don't want you. Bye. I told Unity to remove the validator project from my application, and it still decided to leave it there. I literally told it to remove the package, and it left it there. So you don't get a second chance with me. I wonder though if it's because I have like the Unity localization thing in here, like maybe they require the validator. Well, this shouldn't matter because I don't have the validator enabled, I don't think. Let's find out. Let's go back here. Project settings. See, it keeps putting it back in. I don't want you here. Go away, validator. Go away. I said remove. Is there another validator in here? Let's see. Odin Inspector, Odin Inspector. But that's it. Let's see what happens if we apply. So take a second. Like more than a second. Dank Bucks. Oh yeah. Validating our validators. How you doing, Dank? Feel like we don't talk anymore. Did it apply? Did it just work? No. There's no way that just worked, right? Let's see. See, look at this. It like... oh yeah? You want to remove a validator? Let me, you know, add a validator to your validator. Look how many validators it added. Why? Why are there so many? Oh, geez. It's going to reload all the domain. Okay, give it a second. Something's going to break. I can feel it. Quit playing games with my heart. Just want to work on battle system stuff. Got to work on Unity dumb stuff. Then I got to deal with Wallaber saying I told you so, and you know, tell me why I should hate Unity. That's right, Wallaby is becoming a Unity hater. He doesn't believe in the gospel of Unity anymore. Wish there was a way to like bulk delete these. They must exist in files somewhere. Let's see if this works. Hold on. I'll give you something to hold on to, Unity. Doing great. I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm just trying to plug along. I've been spending the last couple weeks really working on things that weren't as much coding because I had a lot to do with the event this last week for the OTK stuff, to all the Kickstarter stuff that we're preparing for, and the website stuff. And I mean, it just feels like there's never ending string of things. Making a game easy. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like that for some people. I think there's some people who are like, oh, I need to do this thing in a game. Okay, I'll just make it. And it doesn't work that way for me. It just always seems to be like, and innocuous things I think I should just be able to do. Oh, I should upgrade to Unity 6. Why? Jacob asks me. I said, well, I heard that it works faster. I heard that upgrading is a way to address some of the issues I've had with compilation and assembly reloads. And then I get this stupid whatever Odin Inspector is doing that's making it just absurdly slow. I don't know what that is or why that is. Like, what is it? What is this? Why is this? Now, it only seems to happen when I'm messing with my player, so it might just be a player change thing. But it's still, like, it didn't happen before. When I made player settings before, I did not. Do game code bases have tests? Well, like, you're talking about, like, why is the sky blue sort of tests? A train leaves a station going 50 miles an hour, and another train leaves a different station. That kind of test? Or are you talking about, like, unit testing? I think you're talking about unit testing. Yes, you can do unit testing in Unity. I don't know why you would do unit testing in Unity. I don't know why you would do unit testing in general, but you could do it if you hated your life and you wanted to just make everything worse. You could absolutely do unit testing. I imagine if I were to use unit testing, it would make everything even slower. Because right now we're still watching this stupid, hold on, busy. And I still don't know why it's taking so long. I don't understand. Tell me why. I have to figure that one out. I did have an issue where the frame per second was really slow, with like 60 frames per second. Turned out I had like VSync turned on. And VSync makes the frame rate match whatever your monitor frame rate is. Test to ensure the software is not buggy and gets rejection. I don't like unit tests at all. I've worked in my career, non-game dev career, for going on 19 years now. 18 plus years. I just hear someone sigh. I think my kids are acting up. I've worked for a long time, and I've been in many different companies, and I've seen the attempt to make unit tests work. See, look at it, it keeps re-adding it. I have never in my career ever once seen unit tests add the value for what they supposedly are saving. Never. Not one time. And sure, someone's like, well, yeah, but I worked at a company where they worked great. I don't know, man. I've seen it almost work, kind of work. I've seen it fall apart. I've seen companies that are like behemoths that have hundreds of thousands of tests and they just run for the sake of it. I've seen plenty of P0 errors happen on things that are supposedly thoroughly tested. I've seen tons of hours and costs spent on trying to make sure that the tests exist and they work well. I've seen frameworks that are bigger than the code base for testing. I've just never seen it be valuable. Why is this not? I know someone's going to say, but I've used them. They're great. But I've literally just never seen it be useful. Not to the level where it's worthwhile to use them, I guess. I think there is some notion don't want this. Can I remove this? I want to deactivate this. I want to get rid of the localization support because that's what's causing the validator stuff to be included. And the validator stuff is what's slowing everything down. I think like the idea of testing, like automated testing, is a good one, but just people don't know the right way to use it. I mean, people still think guard clauses are good. Do you think they're going to write good unit tests? Interestingly, like some people just like the idea that you can run something and it tells you that it's good, even if maybe half the tests are completely bupkis. The maintenance alone on unit tests is just absurd. I think automated tests that do things like testing inputs and outputs, like white box testing, aren't bad. Or is it black box testing? Black box, maybe. Those aren't bad. Like if you're going to write tests that test the output of an API that confirm whether the API is returning the data that you would expect, I think those are fine. How can I deactivate this? Can I remove it? Let's see. Is there a way I can... What I want to do is make it not use the localization editor. How do I turn that off? It can't be automatically included, can it? Let's see. Odin inspector, turn off localization editor. But then what tests the tests? I know that's the problem. So then you need another, you need another test system to test your test system. That's all test systems down from there. Fully disable Odin validator. I want to do that. Oh, there's a Reddit thing that surely I can just delete this. Nope. I want to get rid of Odin validator fully. Let me see if I can go to like, maybe there's like a package manager thing. It's gonna be freaking laborious if every time I want to do something, I have to wait a minute for whatever that stupid BS is. Let's see. In project, maybe it's part of the Odin configuration system. Let's see. Tools, Odin, getting started. RPG editor, that's cute. Let's see. Odin attributes overview. This is documentation. Validator is not installed. Do you see how this is not installed? Like I can't click on validator. Well, maybe I can actually. Let's see. It says it's installed. I don't want you to be installed. How do I remove you? I don't want you to exist. Go away. How do I unenable you? Validator's making my life slow. What are those gloves providing to buff yeah, it's my knowledge wraps. I also have one of these things. I'm getting old. My body's falling apart. I don't want Odin validator installed. I don't want you. How do I remove it? I want you to be gone from my life. That's what I want. I don't want you here in any way whatsoever. But I can't seem to like remove it, even though there was an option to remove it from the package manager. Nope, you're not there. Background validation. No. I don't want you. Also hide the scene widget. Yes. Keep main profile. No. Validate screens. No. No, I don't want any of this stuff. Okay. Null reference exception. Yeah, you know why? Because you're not supposed to be here. That's why. You're not supposed to be in my life. I wanted to remove you. Go away. ChatGPT has an answer for removing Odin validator. It'll say, go to the package manager and remove it. And then I'll say, it's not there. Has AI helped your develop life so far? You know, hit or miss. It's helped some and it's made some things worse. I think it's probably the reason I have tennis elbow, because it's encouraged me to do more typing and less working. Let's see, my assets. Let's see if I can find it in here. I'll check my assets. Oh. Odin validator. Can I just remove this from the project? Can I like fully? No, I don't want to re-download you. You're good. You're in the project. But I don't. Okay, so it's not there. It literally is not. According to Unity, it's not installed. And yet it is installed. What if I quit Unity and reopen it? Because now I've like removed a bunch of stuff. Even though I still have files here that say the word validator on them because they're dumb. Okay. There's certainly things that I have been able to make faster with the use of ChatGPT. It hasn't been like a complete loss. Hopefully you don't need to go play in Windows Registry. I don't know why I would. It's so weird that you'd think that removing the package, you'd be able to, you know, not have it there anymore. I think the problem is that there's this Unity localization package, and I think the inclusion of that is causing it to sort of reconstitute the stupid thing. Because it really shouldn't be here. I mean, I do have Odin validator, but it shouldn't be showing up here, right? I'll try ChatGPT. We'll see if ChatGPT can help me. I'm not totally convinced that it can. When it comes to like package level knowledge and something, it's not the greatest. I have Odin inspector and Odin validator. I had validator installed in my project. Previously, but want to package manager, but it still seems to be in my project and excessive waiting windows. Windows. How do I fully remove? I forgot. I said I have license for Odin inspectors. I have it installed in my Unity project. I know it's going to know that it's Unity just by inference, but I'll just. Hopefully you don't need to go play in the window. Oh, we already said that. Yeah. Remove it via package manager. This is what, like, you know, I don't know. It's just so stupid. Like here, like AI cannot make intuitive leaps, and it certainly can't address ignorance. Unfortunately. So an example would be, earlier I was trying to solve a problem where I was only running at 60 frames per second in the player, and I thought I just upgraded to Unity 6. It should not be slower than it was on my previous install, which is like, 2021.1 or something. Well, it turned out that I had this VSync game view only turned on, and VSync makes it run the same FPS as my monitor, so it was only running at 60 frames per second by design. And all I had to do was uncheck that. So I was talking to ChatGPT about the problem, and it's trying to give me all these recommendations. Like, oh, VSync might be a problem, but it didn't recommend checking that setting. It gave me a bunch of other places to check. And so I went for like an hour trying to solve it. And then finally, randomly, I found it in some request. I was like, oh yeah, there's just checkbox here. Okay. Delete residual files. Yes. Assets, plugins, Cyrenix validator. Let me see here. Is it in there? Let's see. Plugins. Cyrenix. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of it that way. Delete with extreme prejudice. It'd be funny if the folder just stays there. It's like, nope, you can't delete me. Assets, Cyrenix validator. Cyrenix. Is there a Cyrenix? No. Remove editor preferences settings. On the valid, they may say configurations in there. Check the project settings. Yeah, I tried to. Clear scriptable assets. It may create scriptable objects for its configuration. Look for something that has validator. Assembly, yeah. ASM defs, sure. Delete cached metadata. I actually deleted my entire library folder. Trying to get rid of stuff. Rebuild the project. Oh yeah, that sounds glorious. I love rebuilding things. I don't mind using the AI stuff. I think that what I'm learning is the appropriate times to use it and the times to just not. So I find myself oscillating between a Google search to see what other people say and like a ChatGPT request to see what I can determine. So look at this. Look, the folder is still there. I just told it to delete the folder. But you see this? Look at this. Odin Validator Editor Project Watcher. Do you see how we deleted the folder, but the folder is still there? There's something about Unity that about Odin that really wants me to use Validator. Really, really wants me to use it. That's annoying. Because I 100% deleted that folder. And that's what I'm saying. I think that it's the localization thing. I think that, so Cyrenix released an update that included a whole new UI for the localization UI. And since I have localization installed, it seems to really want to use it. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of that entirely. Here we go. What is this? No, we don't want it to be used on their editor. Let's see. You don't care about QSF. That's fine. Samples. Nope. Don't want samples. We don't want Uni Engine. Well, components. That's fine because they're not. It's not the module. We don't want samples. Okay, let's see if that works. Maybe this will maybe this will help me remove it fully. Enable caching, sure. Serialization, no, I don't care about that. Import, that's fine. It has localization support and I can't deactivate it. Okay. So now if I were to quit Unity and remove remove the file, the folder, would it come back? Is it like a virus? You delete it and it comes back? Let's get rid of you. See what happens. Because I'm pretty sure I deleted validator from here. See this? I deleted this earlier. It's back. It's got to be like some kind of virus. Where when you open it up, it's like, oh, well, I need to use this for something. And then it forces it to be used. Didn't I just delete that? I swear I just deleted it. What? What is going on? It's like no delete for you. Look. Didn't I just delete this? Okay, well, let's see if it stays deleted. I don't know. I might just give up and go back to what I was doing. So obnoxious. Now, what could happen is Uni now won't open because it's going to say, "Oh, you broke something," and now we got to open in safe mode. No, I love Uni. Uni's great. Uni's the best editor ever. I should just port this entire project to like Unreal or something. Entire thing. I bet you AI could do it. Oh, look at that. Enter safe mode. How did I know that was going to happen? At least I'm experienced enough with Unity to know when things like that. Oh, look, you're having a problem. Why? Because apparently validator needs to be used for something. Uni addressables. Can I just get rid of this? No, I can't because it's used by localization. Let's see if that fixes it. Nope, still got problems. Asset label reference validator, asset reference validator. I don't want any of you validators. How do I get rid of all of you? I don't want any of you. Get rid of you. Get out of my face. No more validators. For whatever reason, Odin, your validator system is effing me up. It's always got to be something. In the past, I've had to deal with upgrading where, like, you know, it literally I couldn't open. Uni would just stop. Hey, look at that. Did it work? Yeah, these are just stupid things. Okay, so the project's gonna open now. Okay, so we might have succeeded in removing the validator stuff. Maybe. I mean, it opened. Do you want to take any bets on whether the compiler flags are still there? I wouldn't take that bet. I wonder if I can remove them now though, because I like explicitly removed validator stuff. Now, I don't think this is gonna work. I think if I go into my code base, the things I just deleted are going to be there again. That's my theory. Now, it could just be a theory. See how it says compiling scripts there? So it hasn't even gotten to the phase of stopping me from doing the... But I think I'm right about this. So let's see. Now we're getting errors. This is great. Is there validator's not in there? Okay. Maybe it really is gone. Maybe it has removed itself from my life. Let's find out. Yeah? Or is it gone? Did we... Is it done? I feel like I'm Agent Smith in the third installment of The Matrix. Where he's like, is it done? Have we achieved it? Have we succeeded in our goal of ridding the world of Neo? This is my Neo. Okay, it's one more big test. We're gonna quit the editor. Now, the part that really galls me about everything right now is in the course of the last month, I have upgraded my RAM. So I've went from 32 gigs of RAM to 128 because during Black Friday, there were some good sales. And on Cyber Monday, I purchased a new Samsung NVMe drive for my main hard drive because my main hard drive wasn't even it was a SSD, but it was like a SATA drive or something. It wasn't an M2. So I've maximized the components of my system. And so to still have crap be slow, it's just so galling to me. Okay, they're gone. Let's go back to working on stuff now. Jeez, that was absurd. All right. So I think that, well, wait. The only thing I want to check is, did it re-add the compiler directives or not? It didn't. Yay. Just, what a waste of time. What a stupid, dumb waste of time. That's what that was. It was a stupid, dumb waste of time. But I'm glad I solved it now, because if it worked, it means I won't have to deal with it further, hopefully. Okay, so we'll go to our battlefield setup graph. That opened pretty fast. Let's see if this one opens fast. Because it was the validator that was making it open slowly. I don't know what it was about. Maybe like the validator stuff was just like old. And so because it was some old stuff lingering in there, it didn't know what to do with it and made everything super slow. But it's not there anymore. Y'all, listen. This is probably the dumbest thing you can do as a developer of a video game using Unity. But I have upgraded the editor from Unity 2021 to Unity 6, whatever that is. The LTE version, so the latest version of Unity. And it's working. And I think that's a pretty big step. What is more amazing to me is that the underlying engine, the Smile Game Builder engine, still works. Oh man, why am I spilling so much water today? When I first started doing like the pure Unity Smile Game Builder work, they were pretty clear that they don't support Smile Game Builder on Unity past Unity 5. Whenever they had the number 5 as their number, or whatever it was like before they started doing like 2019 and all that stuff. So they only supported a really old version of Unity, and it's working. So good. The rule is go clear out all the bloat and everything will be fine. Good. So now we're going to decide, what does our start node look like? So we're going to need like instead of a battle start, we just need like a start node. And I think I had resolved on the notion that I like the idea that a graph should only have one start node. It's not really the paradigm you see with like Unreal. Unreal does it by event. So it's like, well, you can have multiple start nodes, but they're based on specific events that happen. But the reason right now I like the idea of a single start node is I actually don't like having graphs that have too much stuff on them. I actually would prefer graphs are more like contained units of execution. So you'll have more graphs, but they're more digestible. And I guess presumably I could have something later that would like have one sort of combined graph or something, but I don't know why I prefer that, but I do. So I don't really want, excuse me. I don't really want a battle start graph. I want just I just want a generic, like a base start node in my node system. Incidentally, when it comes to like naming things, so I have this like Jiratsy folder. I don't know why I went with the word core. I could have made it engine, but for some reason I liked the word core. So now this is like, I'm stuck with it. I could change it, but then have to refactor everything. And I don't want to do that. Because I think like changing the base package, it does a lot. A lot happens when you make, I can do it. I don't want to. So I think we're going to do like a base start node. I think it's considered control. I could also make entry, but I don't know. It could be an event. I think I'm just going to put it in control for now because it's like a control node, right? You're controlling where you start. We're going to pretend that that's what it is. So we're going to say base start node. Start node. I can't remember if I actually had an interface for this. Let's go battle. So in Jiratsy battle. So the problem with the word core is in effect, everything in the base, like the root of your project of source is kind of core. But then you do need to distinguish things that are like engine level versus not. So whatever. That's just my own monologue, opinion. What did I put the start node in? Is this here? Oh, I did. It's in here. Battle entry node. What's an entry node? Okay, crap. It's an I entry node. Oh, crap. Is that what a start node is? What do I use it for? Usages. Battle node graph. Get default entry node. Oh, okay. So instead of calling it a start node, I called it an entry node because reasons. Okay, well. So do I call it a base start node or a base entry node? I think if I was keeping it consistent, it would be a base entry node. I use an interface so that I just had an easy way to find it. Okay, so base entry node, that's all it is. It has no input, so we'll say a public virtual, I think it's public, override hide Or is it has input? What do I call it? Oh, it has to be, I'd have to extend a base node. Okay, hold on. So we're going to extend a base node. There you go. Oops, not a base jumper. Base node. Base node. There you go. Yeah, type. Is this .NET 8? No, I don't know what this is. What is what version of C# does Unity 6 support? I should find that out actually. That worked. Now, what version of C# does Unity 6 support? Question mark. Dank. Have I ever told you the story of how I started my web dev career and ASP Classic? Have I ever told you that story? Because that is a story of all ages. So 6 continues to support C# 8 and Net Standard 2.1 with partial C9, C# 9, while Unity is actively working on .NET modernizations, .NET 8 Plus Core, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, it can utilize features available at 8 and some for 9, but full support is not there yet. Yes, on IIS, Dank. Yes, on IIS. Have I told you? Okay, so you're the only one talking to me right now. Let me just, I'm not, if I'm going to tell you the story, I'm definitely not working. Because this is a story of the ages. This is also, so you got to tell me whether I'm telling you the story or not, because if you do it, you got to commit to this. It will, this story would enlighten you to exactly why I'm totally fine with using Smile Game Builder inside of my engine. Oh my God. It's like the story of all ages. Public override. Bool. Hide. Is it hide input port? Yeah, there we go. So by default, a start node has no input port. I also want to make start nodes green. So yeah, I will tell the story, but it literally has to be you saying whether you want to hear it or not, because it's not something that I can't write code and talk about the depth of my insanity. Battle start round node. No, I thought I had a start node. Start. Is it start event? They call it start event. Weird. Okay, so then I'm gonna put it in here. And I should be able to just add it. Base entry node. I guess I could just use a base entry node. There's no reason not to. It's just a base entry node, right? Is there any reason I wouldn't? I'll try to just use it and see what happens. Sure, but I don't want to deconcentrate you. It's fine. I really want to tell the story. And you're the only one talking to me, so it's okay. We can just have a good old time. Just you and me. Don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell Drast that I'm not working, okay? Just pretend that I'm streaming and working at the same time. So, ASP Classic, also known as Active Server Pages. And in fact, what I might do is start a new chat and say, can you provide me with some sample code of ASP Classic? Include examples of classes as I want to demonstrate how the language is structured. Uh-oh, Pixel Garden. Joffs? Who's Joff? ASP, it's like old PHP. Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. This is so amazing. Okay, so let's take a little journey back in time to young Motzi. Yes. This is what they use for their tags, right? So instead of whatever PHP, ASP Classic. Okay. This language had severe limitations overall. I mean, basically, when .NET came out, what was ASP Classic became VB Script, and then that was also when Microsoft was doing J# and C#, and they basically went with the bytecode system, but then they just made a language for everything, right? Which is kind of an intriguing idea, but that was also when Microsoft was still run by Steve Ballmer, and he's an idiot. So, the new Microsoft approach where they're actually doing open source stuff is the smart way to go. Unrelated to this story. However, at the time, I was in college. I had gotten out of the Marine Corps, and I had just started learning about PHP. I was working at a Veterans Counseling Center in St. Paul. And I started helping this company, this government organization, manage their website and getting paid really cheap. I think they can pay like $20 an hour or something. I don't know, something like that. And so their site was built using ASP Classic. St. Paul Veterans Administration, St. Paul Vet Center, not like pets. And so their site was, someone had written it using ASP Classic on like one of those old, there's something called Visi, like, the old website providers where they just had stupid installs. So they had like IIS set up on a web server that was supported by this company, essentially. I don't remember how much I was getting paid. Honestly, at first I wasn't getting paid anything because I was working for free because I was already working full-time employed for the VA. So I was helping them out as I worked for the VA, right? And so, but then I decided I didn't want to work for this company anymore. Not the company. I didn't want to do the veteran counseling job as a office manager, and I had been supporting their little website, and so I proposed to them that I could rebuild their site for some absurdly cheap amount. I can't even remember. I think I was making $500 a month and I was traveling around the country doing some swing dancing. I was a swing dancer and working on this project. And it was all .NET, all ASP Classic. I had the option to use PHP. I had the option to use .NET. But especially at that time in my life, I was always sort of scared of trying to pick up new things because it's a lot to process and learn and try to apply, right? And by that point, I knew how to use ASP well enough. But here's where the story gets interesting. So ASP has some weird limitations. For instance, your includes, like this is how you include another file. They cannot be dynamic. So PHP, you could have like a include that is dynamically added. It's like it just says include all this code from this other file based on a variable by using a require or an include, right? You can't do that in ASP. So at the time that the script runs, it includes all these files and then runs the code. Problem number one. Problem number two, their object-oriented support was abysmally bad. Like, I think you could have like private and public field member variables, but you couldn't extend classes. There's no concept of extending a class. So you couldn't use object-oriented principles. Now keep in mind, I was in college, I was learning Java. So I knew how to use Java, kind of ish. I did know a little bit about PHP, But this project was on ASP Classic, and I didn't want to upgrade it to another platform because I felt like I couldn't do that and deliver it to the timeline that they were looking for. So instead, I made my life a billion times worse. Here's how. I really wanted to figure out how I could still get the effect of an object-oriented programming language, but do it all in ASP Classic. Well, ASP Classic has a command called eval. I still don't know why I can't do this with my... There you go. ASP has a thing called eval. So the eval command, you can take a string and evaluate it like it's code. And so I got this brilliant idea that I was going to extend the functionality of ASP by using code evaluation. So for instance, if you had a class written in a string, you could eval that and it would become a class that was available to your code. So one of the things I had the idea was, okay, I will make an extends idea so that you could do something like, let's see how their classes work. I forget how the class user, right? So you say like, and I don't remember what my key things were, but class user, and then I would do like extends some other class. And then I would do something like this. Stop. Say hello. I don't care about you. Cancel.
Hey.
Cancel. I just didn't want you to run. So then I would put something like this, like I think it was like a star, or maybe it was like a plus or a minus. I think I did like star. And star is an override. So then what I would do is I would do for like a method or a function, if there's like sanitize input, I would say function, sanitize. And this, what it would do was it would load the class that I was extending. And then it would, if I did an override, it would take my code instead of the code from that class. So it would do all this like text manipulation to say, oh, we're overriding that thing, right? So let me see if I can probably get ChatGPT to do this for me. Okay. Hypothetical setup based on real life events. In my past, I made my own method of providing class extensions and overrides. How I did this was using text parsing to read a file and load relevant data based on my own extension text. So this is all hand coding, by the way, right? Because there was no real good IDE for .NET or not for ASP Classic, and so pure hand coding. Instantly, why I probably hate hand coding. So if a class says extends some class, it will find that class in the library as a string, load that string as a file from the file, and apply changes based on the extension, and pull in all of the functions members into the base class, or the inherited class. No, child class. Compile a full string, then run eval. to load that class. If my class has, it means it's overriding a function from the parent. Let's work up an example. Okay, so class 1, we'll call it animal. Animal class has legs, head, torso, make them strings. Oh, they don't need to be strings, right? Private. Class 2, dog, extends animal class. Has a function like get name. Oh, I'll have the name too, yeah. Head, legs, torso, I don't know. Name. Get name, right? Extends animal class. Class overrides the get name function and returns the name dog. Can you work up an example? This is like the simplest, like the complexity of what I made was beyond the simplicity of what I'm demonstrating, right? Oh, I love, look what it's doing. If I had ChatGPT, okay. If I was in college, if this was 20 years ago and ChatGPT exists, I would have destroyed the world with my ideas. My ideas were so bad. I would have done so many terrible things with it. Because this is like, I mean, it's giving examples of what I had done. I'd make, oh, here's a class animal. Here's the dog class. Dog class extends animal. We override get name. So this is, you know, almost a very good example of what it looked like, right? I think I even had some way of doing like packaging and stuff or name spacing. And then here's it wrote the text parser. I love that it wrote this. I should go look at my old code. I think I still have the code for it somewhere and see like what I did. Look, it's like this is basically how it looked. And then we would have like include class loader at the top. And then I would do like whatever. I would load the class. Oh my God, that's so amazing. But what I had was, because it was a whole framework, it would do it at the very top. Like as long as I specified, I think I even had like a require or an include method. So it was like include whatever, and then it would do all of this stuff and it would include the things dynamically. I also had some files that would load forms and stuff that were 3,000 lines long. So basically the way that I saw this was, if I was going to use ASP, I was going to commit to trying to make it do the things I wanted it to do, despite the obvious limitations. Hey, Stoff. Knock, knock. Do you have a knock? Are you allowed to knock? I don't see any knocking happening. Wait, are you just saying hi? You're not streaming, are you? No, you were streaming earlier, right? I'm so confused right now. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. I'm not heaven's door, just to be clear. I kid. I was like, what the heck? You freaked me out for a second. I was just talking about my way of writing code in the past. I love that ChatGPT basically understood the stupidity of my idea. And it's like, here's how you would do it. Oh my God, that's so amazing. Yeah, I was lurking you earlier, Stoff. But then you raided somebody or something. And I think that person's actually still streaming. Because it's still, my browser's still open on the window that I was watching you. Okay, so Dank. My point is that if you were to look at my psyche as a developer and how I think about things, I was perfectly willing. Think about the insanity of it, okay? I'm a 22-year-old kid, out of the Marines, maybe 23 or 24, somewhere around there. I've had college where I've learned Java, so I know the Java language and how to use an IDE. I've learned a little bit of PHP, and I've learned some ASP Classic. And instead of me trying to find a way to build this website for this organization using a more modern technology, even if it was just .NET for that matter, which was an option, I could have used .NET. Instead of doing any of that, I'm like, I'm comfortable with ASP, and I really like the idea of finding a way to get ASP Classic to do this technique. So I spent hours upon hours retrofitting ASP Classic to get a very close representation of common programming paradigms like, parent classes and inheritors and overrides and things like that. I made a whole engine to do that instead of just biting the bullet and learning .NET. So like when I have those conversations with Wallaburn, he's like, why are you using Smile Game Builder's engine and like retrofitting it into Unity? Why don't you just build it from scratch? My hand pointing at that. That's why. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know. But I will say that in my entire life of anything technical, this has been a trend. 100%. Now, I've learned how to learn new things now. It's like, I knew how to learn new things, but I just really, I don't know what it is about taking something that already exists and finding clever ways to use it. It's too easy, right? I like to make my life difficult, apparently. Because, I used HyperCard. I tried to learn C++ when I was in high school. Did not go well. But instead, I would use HyperCard, right? I was coding in HyperCard because I was comfortable with it. And I was like, how can I get HyperCard to do the things I want? I even got a plugin called XCMD, which would allow for like adding color and stuff. You'd have to I could add color pixels and icons and stuff. And I was retrofitting HyperCard. My first freaking programming tool was HyperCard. And it's just like, it set the stage for my entire life. And I literally don't know why I couldn't just bite the bullet and learn. It's always had to be the backwards way of doing it. I went from HyperCard to something called Real Basic, which is no longer Real Basic. It's called JoJo or whatever that is. But, they had a Mac version of Real Basic. And it's like this visual WYSIWYG type of thing. And then you write code by dropping stuff in. And it's like, and I would do all sorts of things with this stuff. I'd never finish anything. But I'd always be like, ooh, I wonder what else I could do here. Let's see what else I can make, right? And I really liked Real Basic because it was just really, which, looks a little bit like Unity. I don't know. It's kind of like the Unity model, right? You got things on the left, things on the right, something in the middle. It's not that far off base from a tool like Unity. All that time, I knew people who were learning Java. I knew people who were learning, C++, and talking about, this guy who would make a bunch of extensions for HyperCard knew all about C++ and was trying to explain to me the finer points of pointers, which I didn't understand. And I something about my life, I can never just dive into the thing that is complicated. I'm capable of learning it at some point, but it always has to be that I've got to have like a gateway drug. for it. So when I want, even though like years of programming experience, when I got into doing game dev, I had to start with Smile Game Builder. I'm the opposite. Pointers are easy. Well, I still don't like pointers, just to be clear. I still don't like the sort of mental gymnastics I have to do to figure out how to manage memory. That's not something I want or ever wanted to learn. It's like I have to make my life complicated in different ways before I realize it would have been easier, or I realize like I can just make it easier by doing it, one way or another, the way that everyone else would do it. I don't understand myself and my thought processes, but it's what happens. And you guys watch me code, you're like, why are you doing it that way, Monty? It's like, because that's how my freaking brain works. I don't know. I just have to make my life difficult for some reason. I tried to explain this to Tom Sutton, about like some of it's self-induced, but like I've also experienced where when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go straight to the thing. I never find success that way. It's always got to be this weird sort of backing my way into it. It's always got to start with me saying, man, I just want some tool or something that solves this problem. And then I'm introduced to that thing and it's like, it's just not doing it for me, or it's not going to work, or it doesn't help solve the problem. And then I end up having to like do it all the hard way. Then after I do the hard way, I can do it the less hard way. But it's just like, it's never just do it easy and you're good to go, right? It's never that way. I don't know why that is. Such is my life. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to use this battlefield setup. And now that I spent all this time talking about unrelated things, we can get to work. Where was I? What was I even? How did I even get here? We went on a journey, for sure. Thanks for distracting me, Dank. Hey, Pixel, did you see this? You probably see it on the... It's plastered everywhere. Gonna be doing a Kickstarter, baby. Speaking of doing things the hard way. If you think about, like, the way my life works, it makes perfect sense that we're doing a Kickstarter now. When Jacob and I started doing the game dev, we had a moment where, like, well, maybe we should do a Kickstarter. And consistently we said, no. We said, that's too much work. Guys, I cannot stress enough how consistent this sort of thing is with my life. Hey, join 27 other people. Sign up. This is our backer kit because we're going to start it in January, we're hoping. Look this is what I'm trying to get to with the battle system. We said we should do a Kickstarter, and then we said no, we don't, because we want to focus on the game. And so instead we got a publisher, and that gave us time to focus, but caused other problems, right? I mean, I think part of the problem is like publishers by themselves don't typically do as much for you as you want them to, right? Publishers, they want to make money with the minimal effort. They want to get as much leverage as they can out of a small indie team that's going to do a lot of work. And they provided us money, but they had other things they committed to that they just weren't able to live up to for us. And we had to do a lot more work than we expected. So we ended up, instead of working on the game, we were working on stuff that we didn't realize we'd still have to work on. So in the retrospect, maybe we should have just done a Kickstarter early on. Whatever. But we just didn't know if we could get the funding we needed. We did do a Kickstarter, but I don't know if I'd be able to make it work. It's a lot of work. And there's videos out there about like, here's what you need to do. And then you gotta, you ask questions like, how much money should I be asking for, right? You can't ask for too much because then people will probably get turned off of the project. But if you want to be pragmatic about it, you say, okay, well, I can specify a minimal amount, and maybe that will or won't matter. I mean, in our case, a successful Kickstarter, even at our minimal amount, is fine. Even an unsuccessful Kickstarter. We want the funds so that we have the money to either pay the contractors or pay me to do the work, because majority of the stuff left, as I'm not working right now, but the majority of the work left is on my shoulders, is the story writing, it's more like the story implementation and technical stuff, right? Jacob has done a ton of all of the asset stuff. Yeah, we can continue to push assets along, and the more we're able to raise, the more we can get accomplished. But there's not like a risk of not delivering. Delivering the project isn't the problem. If anything, the only real risk is time. I mean, the great thing we have going for us is our game is in early access, and we have been supporting it, and we have a track record of supporting our product. So the one problem you run into with Kickstarters for software is, unless the team that's doing the work has some track record to say, well, we released this other game and it was a success, which we don't have because this is our first game, you're not sure if they're going to deliver or if they're going to deliver everything they promise. And there's plenty of examples where Kickstarters raise a lot of money and the people working on it fall apart and they can't do it. But we don't have vaporware. We have a product people can play right now today. We don't even just have a small demo. We have a product with actual story content and a whole ton of story content. So it's not, we're not in a situation where we can't point to something and say, well, look, here's what we've done. And I stream the work I do. That may go against it. That might be a detriment. Oh yeah, that Motzi guy. Look at him. All he's doing is talking. He's not even developing on the project. I guess so. But at least you get transparency. I'm even toying with the idea that if we have a successful enough Kickstarter, I use this tool called Timely that tracks my hours. Like it tracks what I'm working on. So while I'm streaming right now and I'm in here not working, so I guess technically it's somewhat skewed, but it would show that Streamlabs was open. It would show that I was in Writer, or it shows that I was focused in on Unity. And I can say, here's all the work I did. I could actually report to the backers on my progress regularly. I'm going to support the Kickstarter if I can, but I already bought the game. I know. Monty just craps on developers that choose to not use Unity. So the one sort of the risk we face with doing a Kickstarter now is you end up with a bunch of people saying, but I already bought the early access. Why am I going to give you more money? Which is a legitimate concern. And the answer is you don't have to, right? I mean, to be fair, when we released early access, we wanted to avoid a Kickstarter. So we tried to encourage people to just buy the game. But as far as overall sales of the game from, wish lists versus purchases, it's not a whole lot, right? So you're right that there's a potential pool of people who will absolutely not support the Kickstarter because they already bought the game. That's fine. I mean, we're going to have some incentives for people to support the Kickstarter. And we were considering if there might be a way. I don't know how you validate someone bought the game or not. So that's one hard part. If we had a way we could know someone bought early access, then we could have a way to offer some extra type of reward for those people. I don't really know if there's a way to do that. If there's a way to do that, I would, for sure, in a heartbeat. I'd be like, okay, well, if you support the Kickstarter and you've purchased the game already, here's what we can do for you, right? And maybe what we'll do is we'll have a already purchased package. Like every package gives you a key. Maybe we'll have one where instead of buying into getting a key, you get something else, right? So you just sort of defer the key. Implicitly in that, if you're deferring the key, you probably own the game already to some degree, whether you were given the key or not. There might just be a way to do it that way. That might actually be a way to sort of implies, hey, you've already supported the game. Great. Thank you. So now if you want to get some of these other perks, here's how you do it. It's very interesting to me though. You also have to balance the perks versus the, other things because we got taxes and platform fees and all that stuff. Also, if you don't use Unity, you suck, right, Pixel? That's what I'm saying. Wallaber is becoming a Unity, like an anti-Unity developer. Every time I talk to him about it, he's like, yeah, and here's all this other stuff about Unity that's terrible. Like, well, I mean, you're not wrong, per se. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to figure out how I was going to get place map battle command. I wanted to do something with battle sequence manager. No, enhanced. I do really like I don't know what people feel about transparency. I don't think everyone even cares, but I do like the idea that if let's say we have a really successful Kickstarter and I'm able to focus most of my time on it, I'm totally happy with setting up something where the transparency is just like there. I could either stream more or maybe not, because they don't work as much when I do. Or I'll just have some regular updates that are posted on progress on various channels and things like that. Like, I have no problem doing that. I actually think it's kind of fun to provide transparency. In a way, it's like everyone's my boss. Be my boss, baby. Pixel, you're my boss. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me. How that goes? Where is this thing? Current battle sequence graph. Where does this come from? This comes from the battle sequence manager. No. So how does this get set? Oh no, that's no, that is the graph. Battle sequence graph. This has got to get set somewhere, right? New battle graph runner. Oh, I see. There it is. Okay. So this is in the system configuration. Battle sequence graph. So I'll just do it that way, I guess. So we'll say battlefield setup graph. Is battlefield one word? Probably is. Because battlefield's like one word, right? Yeah. Is that right? Let's see. Battlefield. Or maybe it's not. Battlefield, is it a word? Battlefield games have all one word. I mean, I see a lot of little F's. If I had money, I would have loved to be your publisher when you were getting out of the deal with your previous one. That's not... Publishers don't want a game that's in early access. And even if they did, there's still like the bar to get a publisher to support funding requirements like ours, because ours are a little bit higher than others, is pretty high. And usually, interestingly, like, money is not really the primary thing you want a publisher for. As weird as that sounds, because a lot of people are like, well, I just want a publisher to give me money so I can spend my time focused on the game. But the money has no, like, there's some impact, but that's really not what it's about. It's so interesting to me because we have like a sheet. We were talking to a publisher that seemed interested, but at the end of the day, it was a pretty big publisher, but they're like, well, I sent this to my team and I'm just not getting a lot of bites. And if my team's not interested, then I don't know what to tell you, right? Which I fully agree with, just to be clear. Like, if you are a CEO of a company and the people you trust and rely on to help you run your company aren't interested in something, you listen to them. You don't just say, well, screw you guys, you got to do it, right? There are some CEOs that do that, but I would never recommend that. So if you don't get the interest, you don't get the interest. You know, they just weren't interested enough in our game. They didn't feel like it differentiated itself enough. Okay, it's fair. So, you know, if you can't, but like we had to end it. We created like a sheet that sort of broke down sort of what we think we could get as revenue, presuming that the publisher was able to support us. And the funding ask, the amount of money we asked for, which was not insignificant, wasn't as much as some people, but it wasn't insignificant. That ask, if we played with the numbers in the sheet, had very little bearing on the overall money. It's so crazy to me because we're looking at like, oh, here's how much we would project getting in sales and so on. And if we change the numbers, give or take by like, you know, even a third of it, if we knocked off a third, it had very little impact on the income numbers. It was crazy. Yeah, some CEOs. What's interesting about that topic is that like the person's the CEO of United Health Care, but United Health Group is a bigger group that is in charge of all of it, and that CEO is like at the bottom of the barrel of that list. It's a very interesting commentary on the social world we live in right now, where someone gets killed and the response of the general population is like clearly divided. And it's divided along the lines of it seems to be along the extremer lines, but I think they're blending into like the middle. Because you get a CEO assassinated and there's people that are like, good for them. And then there's other people like, you can't do, you gotta care. But then you have, a cop that blatantly kills a person. And Minnesota seems to be a really great place for that to happen for some weird reason. And you have the opposite, where there's a bunch of people on one side, quote unquote, or like some spectrum of side, that are like, this is an outrage, this should never happen. And other people like, yeah, but the person did drugs at one point in their life, so it's okay. It's so weird. Our society is just strange right now. On many levels, it's so weird. I can't even. That's why I'm just trying to like focus on getting this stuff done. I know that this privilege speaking, but Minnesota said for people of color or any minority, Minnesota has not been the greatest. For a state that, well, that's more purple now than it ever used to be. It's definitely leaning more, less blue. But for a state that claims to be very like progressive, there's a component that is completely not progressive. If you're not cisgendered white male, which is more of a country-based thing, but it's not really supportive of diversity. And there are definitely programs that are more. I mean, there's definitely things about Minnesota that are better for people of diversity or minority, but it's still not like some bastion of progressivism. But I guess you could say that about a lot of places, right? Like the interesting part about the whole slavery conversation, when you talk about North versus South, the North also didn't have a lot of diversity in general. So for people to say like, yeah, I'm supportive of all these things, it's one thing to say, there's another thing to like do or enact or support directly. I had someone I worked with who claimed to be quite liberal, who is like one of those phony liberal people where they're a rich person who talks all the talk about liberalism, but when you look at their actions, they're like the opposite of it. It's just so weird. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was, so this is how I set up my runners. I'm using my game engine, which is a singleton. So I suppose I could, in here, pull that thing in during the battle starting sequence. Have to be really careful about things that I set where, when, and why. So let's look at how our execute thing works. Well, and Pixel, like, yeah, you're talking about one person in the more recent time, but also Philando Castile, the guy who it's a teacher at the school my daughter used to go to. But he was teaching there before she went there. And he didn't do anything, and he got essentially executed. He's literally just like, yeah, I just letting you know that I am a card carrying member of the NRA. I have a gun. So I'm letting you know that so that you're aware. So you're not concerned, and that like had the opposite effect. Like, this shit, man, I just can't. There's so many things going on in the world that are just so weird. And weird, like, I just don't have a good word for it. Weird sounds like even less, like it's not that important, but it is. It's really important. Okay, so execute map battle. So this is the thing that gets run on a loop. So what I need to do is I need to do like a start sequence, like the setup. So I'm going to make a setup sequence, and I'm going to make an update sequence. So private void. What did I call it? Did I call it configuration? Maybe I call it configuration. Data config. I'll say like configure battle data or something, or maybe I'll use the word setup instead. Battle. Setup battle configuration. There you go. Oops. And I'm using different methods here just so I can sort of segment it. I might end up collapsing them afterwards, but public void update. Is this it's not override, is it? I don't think so. It's a scriptable object. I don't think it has an update command. So let's see what we need to do to set up a battle. So when we execute map battle, these sort of exit points, if I kind of want to put it inside runner, owner, battle event controller, if it's not null, return. Does it even get used? It doesn't even get used. Exit if already in battle. I don't know if this is important. I might just get rid of this block and regret it later. Sometimes when I go on rants like this, I was not coding and just ranting, everyone goes quiet. I'm like, uh-oh. Did I just piss everybody off? Pixel, with your views of everything. I blame Pixel for this. Machi, just shut up and code. Okay, got it. So if runner, owner is battle, or... What? So if it's battle, then return? I think that's because this is like when it first runs. So this is part of like the setup. I take all the blame. Hey, just hard thing to follow up. Yeah, it kind of like kills all. Like I just killed the mood. Sorry, Stoff. You came knocking on my door. I just killed the mood. Tom showed up, and I invited him to join the chat, like to join me on the stream, and he said he had a headache. And so I said, that's not the first time I've heard that before. And I said, like, if I had a nickel for every time someone said, hey, Zeno. Oh, Zeno. Dead. How are you, Zeno? It's been a minute or 10. Who's been lurking? You're just doing dev? Yeah. I got stuff. You were doing dev? You're writing code? Are you working on your game? Okay, so this is execute map battle. So we're going to put inside here where we do the setup. No. We need to do like a... How are we going to do this? Where do we create the context? I don't think we do context in here, do we? Let's see here. Execute script builder. So this wouldn't have context. It would have a runner. So maybe what I should do is have two things that run. Oh no, I can't. Because their waiter, the thing that does the waiting is what does updates. Level design, got it. A lot of minutes, it's been so many minutes, right? At least minutes. When was the last time you chatted on my channel? Let's see. September, Zeno, September. And the last word you said was Bazooka Game Dev. That's a name I haven't seen in a while. Just so you know, in case you're wondering. I'm trying to segment this code in a logical structure. So when we execute the map battle placement, we do some setup stuff to make sure there's monsters, and then we run the next code. Do you remember Bazooka Game Dev, though? How's school going? Wait, school, like, what phase of school are you? Are you in college school? High school? Are you learning things? Are you getting smart, finally? That sounded wrong. I didn't mean to make it sound like you weren't smart before. Because I realized that it makes it sound like the same. That's not what I meant. I don't know how else you could interpret it, but it's not what I was thinking when I said it. I can't explain my brain. I can just, be dumb, which is usual for me. Okay, so we have runtime code, runner. This does all the initialization, and then this does the map battle execution. But this doesn't even do the map battle. It does the, you've been applying to colleges. Oh, congrats. Have you found any good ones that you have been interested in? What are you going to go to, a computer science college, as a college that has computer science as one of its primary things? Okay, execute map battle. What am I doing here? So this thing doesn't actually make the battle run. This does all the setup work, and then it does a waiter, I believe. Let me see here. Where's the waiter at? Check, please. Okay. So this is the waiter. So this is what does the update sequence. This is the thing that would make the loop happen. Everything before this is all of the setup. Try catch TV. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Try catch TV. I don't know how you'd say try catch in Spanish, because I don't know the word try or catch. Oh, well, welcome, Try Catch and the viewers. 17 viewers, well, welcome. How are you? Everything is okay. Well, are you South American, or you just speak Spanish? Or maybe you don't speak Spanish, but you said hola anyway. Apitorio Toria Dev. Oh, Colombia. Okay. Yes, we are. What were you guys working on? What were you working on today? Robotics is what you're aiming for. Okay, Zeno, that's cool. My daughter wants to do robotics. This is the game I'm working on. It's called Alterium Shift. Right now, it is actually on sale because it's part of the Winter Games Expo event. Retro-inspired JRPG. Random topics. I've been pretty random today, too. Thank you for the follow, try, catch, and for the raid. Let me give you the shout out. Go follow, try, catch. Oh, I can actually, there's like a shout out thing, right? Yeah, look at that. Boom, like that. Go follow Try Catch. I will too, because I got the little thing. Thank you for the follow. Apitoria Dev. Or Apitoria Dev. Is that Spanish? De nada. So this is Alterium Shift. We are also, just recently we announced at the OTK Games Expo, we are starting a Kickstarter in January. You're doing great with Spanish? Mucho gusto. What did you say? I'm actually learning Japanese more than I am Spanish. I had Spanish when I was in high school, and I've refreshed myself a little bit, but I haven't been practicing it a lot. So I'm not fluent or anything. So anyway, this is the game I'm working on. Yeah, I really like hiragana. Yeah, katakana, hiragana. I'm on I'm on family members, so I call haha is wife, and I pointed at her and said haha. And I said haha wa haha wa kawaii desu. I don't know if you guys know Japanese, but kawaii is cute in Japanese. So I said mom is cute, I think. It's not wife, it's mom. But you should wishlist it. Yeah, Stoff, you should wishlist it. Do you have a game, Try Catch, that you're working on? App Itoria. Oh, Victoria, that's cool. I like that one. That's a cool. I like when people do play on words. So I pointed at my wife and said that, and she's like, "Don't laugh at me," or something. I was like, "No, haha," because haha's mom and Chichi is dad. I shouldn't say haha as the husband though. I should say, I just couldn't remember what the wife word is in Japanese. So I'm still new to it. So right now, I'm slowly trying to work on this, but part of the problem is I'm also easily distracted. But let me just see if I can find it. Excuse me. So we have a new trailer for our game here. And one of our goals, so we have a Kickstarter. Oh no, come back. We want to do a Kickstarter in January. But one of the things I'm working on is we're revising our battle system. So the current battle system doesn't have this on-map feeling or these graphics here. Even the one I'm working on doesn't have these graphics yet, because it's just graphics, right? Like functionally, it doesn't really matter. And so I'm working on revising our system so it can happen on map, which means that when it's fully working, we'll be able to do things like turn the camera wherever we want for the battle and do some really cool stuff. But I'm working on all the underpinning stuff, which is a lot. Yes, it's Unity. Actually, I just upgraded from Unity 2021 to Unity 6 today. And I'm actually surprised it worked, because historically I've tried to do upgrades over the course of this project. I been stuck on 2021.1.23 because every time I try to upgrade, I'd run into some major issues and I just give up, right? But since we have some major updates coming, I was like, you know what? I'm going to upgrade it to 6 now, because we're going to have to go through rounds of QA anyway, so I might as well get this all in now. So that's what I've been, today, instead of working on the battle system like I was hoping to today, in the morning and stuff, I was working on upgrading to Unity. And now it works. So it's great. I'm happy. I had to hunt down some errant things that were causing things to be slower, but now it's fine. And now we're on the latest version, the latest supported version. It really wasn't as bad as I was thinking it would be. Knock on wood. Got some wood around here somewhere. Because right here, so this is like I'm in a basement, so this is above me, a vent or something. And the ceiling's only like a foot above my head because it's a short ceiling. I don't do game dev, but I'm .NET. What do you mean? Oh, you do .NET development. Apatoria, I was just going on a rant about my original experience with ASP Classic, which is the precursor to .NET, and how I completely modified the language to provide more object-oriented programming capabilities instead of just learning .NET. That was in 2004 or something, 2005. Yeah, I've done some pretty crazy things in my career. And I'm still doing crazy things because the core engine of our game is based off another engine shoved into Unity. And I've spent the last X number of years revising it and enhancing it to do whatever I want it to do. So pretty crazy. I got it. .NET for the win 3.0. Well, by the time .NET 3.0 existed, it's like miles ahead of whatever I started with. 2013 was when my eldest daughter was born. It was right when the startup company I was part of sold. Oh, FW. I see. Framework. I thought you meant for the win. I just interpreted there being a T in there. And I used .NET back then too, but a lot of my career ended up being a combination of Java and PHP just because of where I ended up working. But my day job, I'm a chief technology officer, but I'm a CTO that can code. I don't know a lot of CTOs that can code because most of them, by the time they become CTOs, they're more on the high level technology management train, I guess, for lack of a better term. But not me, because reasons. All right, so what we'll do, I am definitely going to segment this. I'm going to do setup, battle configuration. I inherently like the idea of segmenting the phases of this work, especially because this is supposed to be a setup process. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to steal the entirety of the code and then trim it down just to the setup. That means I need some kind of context, I think. Should I make a context? I wonder if I need a context. I don't usually pass context in here. That's a good question. I'm a CTO that code. It's my company. I'm the only employee. But you didn't say that those details mattered. Shut your face. Condolences, PHP and Java, skin crawls a bit. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I've done all the major languages, except I don't like Python, so I don't do Python development. But, all of the web-based application languages, Java, PHP, .NET, so C# by extension, JavaScript, TypeScript. I tried to learn Google Dart once. All the CSS stuff, HTML, shell scripting, Docker containers, and containerization, AWS. Python is the most popular programming language in the world. Python sucks. Python... Yeah, GDScript is the game dev equivalent of Python, and is why I won't use Godot. I hate Python so much. I don't know if I would choose to use Python or Rust first, though. I think Rust is probably worse, in my opinion, but... Okay, so I need to figure out how I want to do this. They have, let's see, execute map battle. They have this way, I guess I'd have to put this in twice. So what I need is like a thing that would check the status of the battle. Actually, this only happens at the beginning. So what would be the best way to do this? Erlang? Yeah, let's do some prologue or some Lisp. Python's not that bad. It's just that if I want a scripted language, I go for JS. At least I can try it on the browser. Well, JavaScript sort of transcends one specific medium, right? Because you can do it in a client browser or you can do it on a server. That doesn't necessarily make it better, because the better languages aren't always the ones that people end up using. It's the ones that are more versatile and convenient. So using Node is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It is funny though. Yeah. Okay, so let me think here. I suppose that if we're gonna make a waiter, how do I want to do this then? We'd have to know whether the battle is happening, right? So what would happen is, I'm going to distill this entire block of code. Maybe. I could have just renamed it, I suppose. Maybe we'll just rename it. I'm gonna like completely break my code for a while, but I'm okay with that because it's already like not doing everything I want. So we'll just rename this. Oops. Uh-oh. Come on. There you go. That works. At least it's faster to fail at it. Yeah, it's true. All right, Dank, have a good one. Yeah, I didn't expect to be still streaming right now, but I got raided, so I was like, I have to keep going. It's required of me. So first off, we're gonna switch this. See you, Dank. Oh, thanks for the applause. I always appreciate when you give me the clap, Dank. I'm glad you're here, Pixel. Gosh, this is such a mess, this code. Is this the code I want here? Can I take this whole block here? Yeah, I think I can. Okay. That's all we're gonna do. Because I am gonna end up revising it entirely, but I just wanted to get this here. Okay. So if we aren't locked somewhere else, it'll lock it and start using it. Now this one does something dumb where it's like runner, owner. So this is like one check. This won't get run twice. It only runs once. So really it could just be part of this stupid single method, right? I think maybe it's just because they didn't want to have like an so this has to be not true, and those ones have to be. I could make like a property that hides it, but I don't know if that makes it any better. So it says if not that and not this. So that has to be false in order for the code to continue. I'm just saying it out loud. Well, it was getting bad there for a while when we started talking about society, right? When Pixel prompted discussions that we just shouldn't have talked about. I blame Pixel. Although, you know, you both are Canadian, so you and Stoff and Pixel are Canadian. So we get along well enough, I guess, even though I'm not Canadian. That was a fine... No, it wasn't, Stoff. You said it brought the room down. You said you were so sad, depressed about it. I was the one-armed man that haunts my dreams. Okay, this is funny. Cur attribute doesn't even get used. You're going away. Screw you. Monster count has to be greater than 0. That is already checked, so we're gonna get rid of you two. I'm just doing a clearinghouse. I know. Stop. I'm teasing, obviously. But it's okay. I wouldn't have known what to say either. I'd be like, yeah, man, yeah, it's tough, yeah. Even if the monster number is okay, so this is like, we get the battle monsters, we try to get them. If we don't find the monsters, then we exit. I still don't give a flip. You know what? I don't give a flip. I'm making some bold assumptions here that the monsters are going to exist. And then we got rid of that. Really, I'm going to hoist these up here because I don't want to have them separated for now. This is the background music setup. Oh, formatter. There you go. Why? What? Tell me about your ass. Use pattern matching. Sure. Oh, that's terrible. Is not. I don't know why that's. I don't like this block of code, but we'll deal with it. Okay. Stop burn. Why are your hands are up because you're giving up? That's a good stuff. Way to just give up like that, stuff. Appreciate it. Okay, so now we have map hero. Send. Speaking of hot topics, I hear you guys up there in Canada thinking of becoming part of the US. Thinking of joining us in our fun. So, speaking of knowing when to quit. Okay, so this runner.waiter. This is the thing that actually makes the update process happen. And I almost think what I should do is take the entirety of this nonsense and put this into the update method. See, I don't like closures very much. For those who don't know what closures are in code, closures are just like anonymous code shoved into other code. It's like as like a function that it's a first class function that just lives in code somewhere. And the problem with closures is they're so easy to abuse, almost like guard clauses. So you see like this just giant freaking block of code is effectively a function, or it's a function. It's not even a method because it's just an anonymous function floating around here. And what it's saying is like this waiter is that function. And when you call the waiter, it'll give you a check. I'm going to get rid of the closure. Oh no, what'd I do? Maybe I was a little too aggressive. Okay, try this again. We're going to get rid of the closure and put it in here. And we'll figure out the rest of the problem in a minute. Now, I think that, let me go where the waiter gets used. Dot waiter. Can't remember if this is, yeah, so it's the function that returns a Boolean and takes no input. So the one problem is I will have to figure out how to make the waiter work without having all these values that we hoisted. So the reason they probably did this was, oh crap, can I do this? Can I make this work? Yes. So I can make it work. I still have to use the closure, unfortunately, but I can do it, you know, kind of. Sort of in a cheater sort of way, right? So what we'll do is we'll use a waiter, but we'll return the update. So we're still going to let update decide whether it's done or not. And I'll just have to pass in information into it. So then I think I'm going to make, should I make a context for this? What data do we need? We need a battle sequence manager. We need center values. I could make a battle context. I don't care about that coroutine. This is where we're going to change some things. Still battle sequence manager. So there's not a lot of context here. So I can make like a battle preparation context. Preparation H. Guess I could do that. So let's see. Battle context. Battle graph context. There we go. Where is this stored? Do I have other context in here? Let's see. Nodes. Guess I don't. Cancel. Battle graph. Maybe I'll just make a battle setup context. That'll work. I believe in you. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about stuff every night and day. Not totally true. I spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. Okay. What do I need? I just call it a context, right? Do I need any values? See me running through an open door. I'm just going to call it battle sequence. I don't want to call it like the big wordy word things. Okay, so we have a battle setup context. So we'll need to pass into the update the current context, which will be battle setup context. How do we use context? Very carefully. That's how. Let's make context. 3, 2, 1. Context is the something. I think if it's a public value, I could do something like new battle setup context. Look at all the things it wants to set. I wonder how many of the things I actually need. So first off, we want this to be battle sequence. And then we're going to make this into our enhanced battle sequence manager, I think. Because I think it'll work like that. How do I get the enhanced one in here? What? Why is it not? Do I use a different battle sequence manager somehow? Owner.battle sequence manager equals. No, I think it's just that I have to cast it. Okay. Okay. So we'll comment these out until we know we need them first. I'm just not sure which things I need, so I'm just going to do it this way. So really, we just need to do waiter is update context, right? So that will tell it to run that code and return the value. Okay. So I've essentially just tried to slim up the code. It's not the most glorious way to do refactoring, because what I've done right now is take a sequence of events and then just made other methods in sequence. But it's a little bit more bite-sized, digestible, theoretically. I don't like putting a random waiter like this. This is going to be problematic because if you're reading code, you'd have to get all the way down here and say, oh, there's this random waiter thing that gets returned. What happens here? Then you got to go figure out what the hell a waiter is, which is going to be a whole nother problem. Okay, so preparing state. So this is dumb. Oh, God, I hate this so much. Should I make nodes for these states? I could. What do we do here? We get the battle viewer. We get the camera. So this is the thing that's like moving the camera into position for the battle. This is just a state. So this could be a node, right? And it could be that's what I need to do is I need to make this call a graph that does the node. This is implicit. This thing called is divided map scene, because our game is designed to run on a map. This would always be true. So there's no reason to even have this in my enhanced version, because I'm not even using Smile Game Builder's decision process there. When I'm trying to make something work, I try not to change all the code right away until I understand it. So if this is a node, I might end up pushing this into a graph. This is getting camera values, set background. Let me see here. I mean, literally, this is doing like the set the background and walking the characters to their positions. I could make this into a graph. Okay. This is the next step of the process. And all this is doing is waiting for the last one to finish before it goes on to the next thing. Then it does this start battle mode. Okay. Yeah. And then that's interesting. Okay. So I think I should just chunk this up into nodes. I'd have to be able to know what these values are going to be, though. Like when we set the center and things like that. How am I going to determine that? Camera controller move. I think this moves as a coroutine. Let's see. I mean, I don't even want to, I don't want to use a coroutine in this case. Let me see. Got a node. What's up? You know what you're talking about. Interesting. So I think what I did with move camera is it's not enumerable. How did I do this? Oh, I did. Shoot. Node worried. Okay, you're not being super creative with your puns. So I kind of cheated a little bit. It was when I made this camera control. I made my own camera controller that sort of overrides the Smile Game Builder version of camera controller. But the problem I've been discovering is the usage of coroutines sucks. Especially when their system is so heavily reliant on update loops. Because the way their commands work, they're like individual commands that every update loop get triggered to move forward. Hey, Porfirio Pongunta. Pongunta? That sounds like almost like a question. Good, how are you? Are you from the raid from Try-Catch? Okay, so let me think here. I could almost get away with the camera doing its own thing. I would just have to find a way to know that the camera was ready, like it wasn't moving. Which is actually doable. Let me see. Do I say something where like I say the camera's moving? Yeah, you're from. I figured because you also have a Rio in your name and Aptoria Dev. So is the RIO a common Colombia or South America thing? Where you like decorate your name with an IO or IA in case of Aptoria, which would make sense because she's a she. And would I imply that you use masculine pronouns? It's IO? I don't know. I'm only making some broad assumptions based on my general understanding of language. So do I do anything here that tells me that the camera is moving? I don't have a setting in here, but I could. So I could have a setting in here that's like camera is moving. This is like a static property. I could just do public bool. Oh man, I love it. I want to end camera. That's funny that that's a thing. Like it just interpreted it that way. But I'm not going to make it a property. I'm going to make it explicitly set, as opposed to. Por is for a question, but no. So Porfirio is a name. Right. Porqueo. I don't know. Like, because porque is a question. Is you'd say for what or whatever. I remember my adult realization that Denata was like of nothing. Like it's nothing, it's no big deal. And I thought that was interesting to learn. No one told me it, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's like saying it's nothing, it's no big deal. When you say gracias and someone says de nada. ¿Por qué? Yeah. ¿Por qué te gusta? No, te gusta? Yeah. ¿Por qué te gusta Porfirio por tu nombre? Did I say that right? Why do you like Porfirio for your name? Move camera coroutine. So start coroutine. So we're going to say is camera moving? Is camera moving equals true. And then on the finalizer, we say is camera moving equals false. Okay, so I can still get information that I need from the camera while I'm trying to move it. The question is how I want to do this thing here. Because I feel like the way we trigger camera movement isn't, I'm not gonna change the camera function. If anything, I would just change, like it could be a node, but the node is just like start moving camera or something, right? Like, because the positional location of the camera will change based upon how the map is set up. So I just need something that says like start camera movement or move camera, like a node that would trigger that. It'd probably be a parallel node. So it would be, or it wouldn't even be parallel. It wouldn't stop any movement. It would just make things go. Okay. So if we move this into a node, it's just like, do your thing. And then game camera controller move. Yeah, so let's just do that. And then this I would do, I have to figure out a way to like target everybody and make them move to their locations. Which again is something that I could do as a node. Okay, so we'll make some nodes for this, I guess. So battle, we have sequence nodes. I think we're gonna have like setup nodes. And we'll do like, do I want to treat it like it's a command? This is the other problem is like, I think I can have a camera setup node, but I'm going to have like a battle movement command. I think. So if I had node graph here, nodes, actor, control. How do I want to do this? Node commands. I guess I'm going to have like a battle commands or something. Or just battle.commands maybe. I'm going to need commands that are battle specific, so. Does the camera command need to be does camera movement need to be a command? Not if I'm just triggering it once and moving on. Except my nodes are not designed for execution of code. So if I want to follow my rules, then I should probably make it a proper command. So we'll just make it a command. Battle camera setup command. I think it's called node command. Yeah. All right. So this is the thing that's going to kick off the battle camera. Do I need context? I think context is automatically passed in. But it means my battle graph context happens earlier than I thought it would. Well, no, it doesn't. Because I could get the context. Okay, so how do we do this? Let me see where my context comes from. Graph context container. So I would need to have a context container, which means that I would need in the battle graph context container the setup. which maybe I just need to use the battle graph context container. I mean, all this information is going to be there. So, okay. That's okay. We can do this. So then where do I set that container up? That gets set up as part of a lot of places. Okay, hold on. This doesn't work. That gets set up as the battle graph runner, I think. And this gets used in the enhanced battle sequence manager. Okay. Interesting. There's one thing that I thought of when I originally created these runners. These are like the things that navigate the graph. I linked the runners to their context. And now I'm thinking that was a bad idea. I think the notion that a runner, like runners need to have context, but runners should not be the things that create the context. Because if you have to create the context, then you intrinsically link the two, but contexts are meant to be passed around. So theoretically, I could create context before I even need the runner. And I don't want the runner to have to worry about it. I want the runner to just say, okay, give me the context you want me to use, and we'll go from there. And right now I have this create context method when we create the runner. I think that's just because we give it a graph, and the graph and the context are somewhat tied together. This is one of those ones where like I wasn't really like, I'm okay with the fact that I'm like partially through code, but I feel like I'm at a point where I'm going to have to back up and think a little bit more deeply about how I'm going to use these contexts. Context is just a bunch of data that gets passed around. If I look at the way I set this up here, where I do like the base graph runner, right? So this thing right here gets used in battle graph runner, which gets used in this sequence manager, and I pass in this. So what should really happen here is I should be creating a context before I even make the runner, and then I should require that the runner takes context. I think the reason was because in order for the runner to properly run, it needs a context. Theoretically, it could create empty context, but it needs something. So it could like fall back to creating it, but I should also be able to pass it in. I think that's probably what it is. So we can leave it as it is, but we should be able to take in a context so we don't have to create it from scratch. But I guess creating context is okay. Because all it's doing is it's creating a blank set of context, right? Okay, that makes sense. I still think my brain's done though. So I think I'm still gonna wrap up, but I think I got a good picture of how this is gonna go. I'm not like creating brand new code. I'm more like reorganizing it to flow better, but I think this will end up being a nicer flow. Because I didn't originally plan on the beginning part of the battle to be something I put nodes to, and I do like node based, like these nodes where I can have some other thing that it calls. But I'm going to need it because at any given time, if a battle starts, there can be lots of different things we want to do. By default, it'll run this process, But other times I might have a different graph I want to run for some different reason. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. It's much later than I thought it would be, but I got raided and then I kept going. And I'm fine with that. I had fun. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Everyone who came with the raids. If you guys all didn't see, we do have a Kickstarter we're working on. It will be coming in January. So if you've showed up and you haven't heard this already, have a good night, Pixel and Stoff. Do I like Maroon 5? They're fine. I don't listen to them regularly, but I have. You sign up for the mailing list. Well, thank you, Pixel. Please do. It does help to know people who might be interested in supporting the project. It really helps us gauge timing and timelines. Who should I go raid? There's not a lot of coders. Why is that? Oh, but there's Johnny Cash. I didn't follow Johnny Cash last time. I'm pretty sure I raided Johnny Cash last time. I guess I didn't follow him though. I just love the name. Johnny Cash as a developer. That's a great name. Who is this guy? Doug Stash? Is he a developer? He's doing golf with friends. Oh yeah, he's a developer, but he's not coding. Try Cats, I'm following them, but they're offline. There's also Onhid Shard. Yeah, Doug is playing video games right now, though. Okay. I liked Johnny Cash. Maybe I'll just raid Johnny. He's doing Unreal development, though. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll do the Cash person. Oh, there's Bad Cop. What's Bad Cop doing? There's also Impractical NPC. Still refactoring the RPG. That is a funny title. I don't see anything. Oh, it's Practical NPC's secondary channel? That's weird. Bad Cop has a weird way of showing their screen. Okay, we'll go see Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash is pretty nice. And you get to see more graph stuff. So, you know, we'll rate him again. All right, y'alls. If you want to send some hypes, you can send some hypes. If you don't, that's also fine. I just put them there for funsies. I'll be back on Tuesday, as usual, working on stuff. Maybe I'll have more battle stuff done. Zeno, nice to see you again. Hopefully your schooling goes well. Or continues to. And you get the robotics professionalism going. Have a good night, y'all. Hasta luego. Buenas noches.